Good morning, everybody. So, let's go ahead with the 2021 Winter Weather Workshop. So, after, very, very quick introduction, I'll go over some recent updates to our winter weather intranet, as well as our kind of review of our Google sites for those who haven't really looked into it. Then we've got Tim with the annual outlook and climatology. Reed will go over some probabilistic guidance and ensemble clusters with a brief break in between just to give our brains a little rest. Matt will go over his GFE winter review. I'll give my usual update for the WPC winter weather desks. And then Reed will have a review for flash products used for flash flooding. So that's pretty much all I had for the intro. So I'll just go ahead and jump right into our internet and intranet. Let me see if I can get my. Apologies, my computer's running a little slow to wake up this morning. So here we go. All right. So I'm not sure if anyone's looked lately, but we did have a kind of big update to our winter weather webpage a couple weeks ago. And so now we have kind of updated tabs and graphics. So weather.gov/ILM/winter. So right now we have these 5 tabs. The new one is the winter storm outlook and winter storm severity index. We're not allowed to have like multiple custom tabs like we had before, but I will be adding an other snow/ice tab, which we are allowed to add where we can put whatever. That's our local customization tab. So I'll go in there and add kind of the stuff that we lost, which was like climatology, briefing, safety, things like that. So I'll be working on that next couple of weeks, but for now the webpage is functional. And then of course the red tab will show up if we have any winter storm products in effect, which we shall see. The biggest overhaul for the webpage is that now all the prob snow graphics are done via graphids. So your expected high end and low end, percent chances, as well as ice accumulation are all graphids now. So it looks a lot cleaner. It kind of uses a default map, so if we see anything weird or anything we want to change, we can look into that, but should be good to go. Outside of, I think, the max storm snowfall total color bar goes like 36 inches, which if we see that here, it'll be Armageddon. So we'll probably see a lot of these blue colors, maybe. And as I mentioned, there's now a tab for the WSO and WSSI. I'll go over these more with the WPC presentation for those who don't remember it, but this is a good kind of, if you want to access these maps quickly, here's our local and national maps, and if you click on it, it'll bring you directly to those product web pages. So it's good to have handy. And for the snow and ice obs, I kind of like this National Snow Reports maps. It's just kind of a listing of all the LSRs in the nation. So you can click on it and I guess view all the snowfall totals that have been reported, as well as a link to the no risk map for I think like past 24-hour snowfall or 72. And this local snow reports, I'm not entirely sure. It hasn't been working in years. It kind of pulls from like a spotter or report PNG that we don't have. So I'll look into that and see, there's something that we need to be doing on our end. But for meantime, I like the LSR maps for, rare case we have snow. And then, of course, there's a medium long range forecast tab that has all the day 4 through 7 winter weather outlooks. You got all your CPC maps, goes through, I think, weeks 3 to 4. And so that's pretty much our winter weather public webpage. And as I said, I'll add a new tab to this when I can to kind of bring back some of the information I think would be useful for those that visit here. And it also includes links to like our freeze climatology pages because, that's definitely our most important winter, or at least dependable winter. And so now I'll move on to going over our intranet. I just figured this would be a kind of a good review since I don't know how often people like go to our intranet for the winter weather, and there's some useful stuff on there. So let me see if I can. Aha! All right. So for our winter weather webpage on our Google site, I kind of have like a lot of links on here that be useful either during events, before events, and so program guide kind of just rehashes a lot of our criteria, policies for like freeze, LSRs, things like that. We have info for your prob snow experiment, things like that. The WPC page kind of has all the information I'll show later in our presentation, but easy to access, like in the middle of the winter. It also includes logins for the internal WPC page, their super ensemble plumes, things like that. So again, good reference. We've got our climatology page, which once it loads, it has a lot of info on kind of like our annual snowfall, which again, this is 2017, so it's definitely not 1.6 inches anymore. You know, our top snowfalls, a lot of things you'll see in Tim's presentation, but it's kind of handy, like if you want to know your earliest and latest snowfalls. I kind of like this picture. It kind of shows you the max snowfall that occurred each day. And so, again, good for social media and also good if you're just, you know, curious about, you know, what snow fell. So just things like that, you know, mean SLRs, snow databases, things like that. It's nice having everything in one place. The next thing, the winter weather forecasting North Carolina. Honestly, this is a lot of information I pulled off of the placemat we have hidden in one of the drawers in ops. So kind of a lot of the like physical processes for P types, Miller types A and B. You also have like the Raleigh trend map here. And so again, just trying to get it all into one place. And then we also have, I think we added this last year, what to do during a winter event. And so like how to measure snow with a snowboard, how to measure freezing rain. We also have like kind of the information for LSRs, PNSs, and then the verifying warnings and advisory, which I'll be taking over for Dave for the winter weather storm data. So if we ever have like a actual winter weather storm, I'll get to see how fun this is. But this has like a lot of stuff that Dave was talking about when you need like the onset, time when it reached criteria, and the end of frozen precip for each zone. So there's a lot of information that's needed for storm data. So all that is detailed here for, again, to give yourself a review right before an event. Then also have links here for like the frost presentation we had last year. We've got kind of a few useful links, including like our main page. You got no risk. This is the Raleigh's trend graph that I believe this one, actually no, I think it's this one. One of these is an interactive trend graph, which is pretty cool. That, yeah, you can hover over a category and it'll tell you a lot more about like the observed type, what kind of data is in there, like how many cases gave that P type, and then like kind of the science behind each of these areas. And so I really like this page. But again, I think mostly like the science and then the like percentage of cases is pretty telling rather than just looking at the trend graph itself. There's also a winter safety page. I gotta go ahead and add the Weather Ready Nation winter page on here because it has a lot more information, including like social media plans, things like that. Kind of be a good go-to during the winter season if you're like kind of stuck on what to do for social media. There's a lot of good graphics on there. I also have links to quite a few forecast guidance links. So not all, like I know this one's not working, and I think one other one needs to be updated. But anytime I come across something that I believe would be useful during winter precip, kind of go ahead and throw it on here. So It's also linked to the WPC snowband probs, which again, I don't know if we'll ever see here, but good to be familiar with. I'll also mention this again in my later presentation. Links to Matt's tools, as well as, old top-down method flowcharts. We also got linked to the NC State Climate Office, which can give you soil temps for North Carolina, which would be great for frozen precip forecasting and impacts. And then, of course, MPing and CocoROS. And then this is just miscellaneous stuff down here, which includes the blank CWA map, which I know we're done for the season this year, but in future seasons, if anyone needs to, access the map, it's on our intranet. And so, yeah, that's honestly pretty much all I had on my end. And so, see once this loads up, but anyone have any questions on our internet or intranet?
Hey, Vicky, can you hear me?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more or less a comment. You mentioned the LSR stuff before, and then you did talk briefly about the storm data. And I think if we are good at doing those during an event, that'll help us when we go back afterwards for storm data. So any little bit of information helps. I know the starting and ending times are kind of nebulous, and we'll have to probably use radar. But if we get any reports, please issue LSRs. That'll help us for situational awareness during the event, and especially 3 months later when we're doing the storm data, or 2 months later.
Yeah, any and all LSRs would be great. I know, especially if it's like a big event, like an LSR for like 0.1 inches won't matter, but if it's a small event, even those help. I know specifically for warning criteria, which I believe is like 2 inches. But yeah, any and all LSRs, and then honestly, like, you can go back and figure out the rest, but I believe Dave put together, I'll see if I can link that here. Oh, never mind. I have a link here. So this is the form I think that me and Dave created last year. For like if ops can work on it like during an event, or if not after the fact, that kind of has all the counties plus the 3 criteria times. But like Steve mentioned, any LSRs were just like amounts. And again, the amounts should be those that are like you can see with the ruler, or like actually measured, not just like someone guesstimating like, yeah, I had around 1 inch, but no pictures, no. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. A lot of that information's here at least, but we'll see what happens when we have an actual storm for the first time in 3 or 4 years. All right, well, if that's about it on my end, then I can pass it along to Tim for our